Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
More than 700 years ago, these hills and valleys were resonating with the name of Allah and His Messenger. The brilliance of the Islamic Empire in Spain is well known, but at its demise, the few believers in the one God sought refuge in this valley from their pursuers. But the glory of Islam was to come again 700 years later through the hands of the true custodian of Islam.
ऐ मसीहा नफस ऐ महे दिल बरा ऐ मसीहा नफस.
Join us for the next hour as we follow the activities of Hazrat Amir al-Mu'mineen and the inauguration of the second Mosque of Islam Ahmadiyya in Spain. Witness the return of Islam through Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, the true leader of the true Islam.
हमने बहरे खुदा तेरी बैत जो की तू हमारा हुआ हम तेरे हो गए तू हमारा हुआ हम तेरे हो गए.
The 15th and 16th century Inquisition in Spain led to the eradication of nearly all signs of Islam from Spain, and there was no sign of Muslims returning to the land they once called home. But the Ahmadiyya Muslim community wasted no time. Missionaries were sent to Spain, and after nearly 7 centuries, the first mosque was established in 1982. The Basharat Mosque in Pedrabad was inaugurated by the 4th Khalifa of the Promised Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad Rahmahullah. This was a truly historic occasion. Not only for the Muslims, but even neighboring Christians were fascinated by this new establishment. The seeds of the return of Islam were sown. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V has visited Spain twice in the past, each time guiding the local community to do more and spread the message of Islam where it had once prevailed. His third visit was to be crucial, for it was the inauguration of the second Mosque of Islam, this time in Valencia, the last region where Muslims sought refuge before their expulsion or forced conversion. Hazur arrived in Spain on the 26th of March 2013 at Madrid Barajas Airport and was led through pre-arranged access straight from the plane to an exclusive VIP exit where he was greeted by the National Emir and members of the National Ahmadiyya Executive Council. Hazur then made his journey 220 miles away to Valencia. Traditionally, this journey would have taken around 3.5 hours by car, but Hazur was to make his journey by the new AVE high-speed train network. Hazur was led through special access by the train administration to a chartered carriage designated for Hazur and the entourage members. The AVE trains travel at speeds of up to 300 km per hour and are fully catered for long journeys. The regular commuters were quite fascinated to see Hazur, who also graciously met ex-Real Madrid goalkeeper Santiago Canizares. A journey that would have taken more than 3 hours took only 1.5 hours, and Hazur then made his way to the Baitur Rahman Mosque, where he greeted the anxiously waiting Jamaat and made a brief inspection of the mosque before leading the first prayer at the new mosque. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih has been extraordinarily active and adamant on the building of mosques in every city and region of Europe. Last year alone, Hazur inaugurated a great number of mosques in various European countries. Mosques not only serve as a hub for the community to gather and worship, but they are a beacon to the larger community, promoting diversity along with naturally serving as the perfect source of tabligh to the population at large. The foundation for the Baitur Rahman Mosque was laid by Hazur in 2010 in the town of La Pobla de Valbona, 20 kilometers from the city of Valencia. The Valencia region was the last safe haven for the Muslims, where they survived for around 400 years after the start of the Inquisition, until they were expelled completely. Islam was to return, more glorious than ever, to this region. And what better way to do so than through the establishment of a mosque? On the 29th of March 2013, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V inaugurated the Baitur Rahman Mosque and delivered the Friday sermon live to the whole world from Valencia. Hazur stated that the reason he chose Valencia as the location of this mosque was because Spanish history tells us that when the cruel king and queen forcibly converted Muslims to Christianity, Valencia was an area where, in spite of the persecution, Arabic continued to be spoken. Muslims in Valencia continued with their worship of God and maintained their teaching, whereas other Spanish Muslims of the time did not openly assert their faith. Hazur also stated that we should pray for our offspring with great angst. We pledge in our meetings that we will be ever ready to make every sacrifice. We need to also instill this spirit in our next generation. However, we should realize that with the time the nature of sacrifice changes. When the early Muslims came to Spain and spread all over it, they fought jihad with the sword. However, the sacrifice of the time is jihad of tabligh, and the financial contribution for the building of mosques. The nature of sacrifice changes with circumstances.
अपनी जिम्मेदारियों को पूरा करें. अगर हम अपने अहदों और अपनी जिम्मेदारियों को पूरा करेंगे तो फिर ही हम अपने मकासद को हासिल कर सकते हैं. हम ये ऐलान करते हैं कि ए मसीह मोहम्मदी और हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के आशिक़ सादिक़, हमने जो आपसे अहद बैत बांधा है कि दीन को दुनिया पर मुकद्दम रखेंगे और तौहीद को दुनिया में फैलाएंगे, तो इस मस्जिद की तामीर की वजह से जो दुनिया की इस्लाम की तरफ तवज्जो पैदा होगी, तबलीग के जो रास्ते खुलेंगे, उनका हक़ अदा करते हुए अपनी तमाम तर सलाहियतें बरूए कार लाते हुए तौहीद का क़याम और मुल्क के बाशिंदों को हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के झंडे तले लाना हमारा अवलीन फ़र्ज़ होगा इंशाअल्लाह. ए खुदा, ए समी और अलीम खुदा, हमारी दुआएं सुन ले, हमें अपने फ़राइज़ निभाने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमा. ये मस्जिद जो तेरे घर की रुतबों में बनाई गई है, इसको उन मकासद के हुसूल का ज़रिया बना जो तेरे घर बनाने के मकासद हैं. तू अलीम है, तू हमारी कमज़ोरियों और नाअहलियों को भी जानता है. बस हमारी दुआएं सुनते हुए, हमारी नाअहलियों से सरफ़ नज़र करते हुए हमें मस्जिद की तामीर के मकासद को पूरा करने वाला बना.
Con una superficie de 1.500 metros cuadrados y capacidad para...
Many local newspapers also covered the event and published articles on Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Spain, and the establishment of the Baitur Rahman Mosque in Valencia. One of the main activities of Khalifatul Masih is giving his time to each member of the community. Hazur ensures that all the community members get the chance to meet him in person, individually or in delegations, where they get the chance to seek guidance in various matters, to ensure that they are doing all they can for their own spiritual well-being and the spiritual well-being of their children. His travels are also a time when those who have recently entered the fold of Islam Ahmadiyyat, and even those who are thinking of joining, have an opportunity to meet and see the blessed person of the Khalifa of the time. Similarly, on his visit to Valencia, Hazur gave his personal time to individuals and families. Recent converts to Islam from Spain and neighboring countries of mainland Europe also had the opportunity to meet Hazrat Khalifatul Masih. The first of these delegations was Ahmadi Muslim converts of Arabic origin from Spain and France. Hazur inquired from all members who they were and how they entered the fold of Islam Ahmadiyyat. The second delegation was Ahmadi converts of West African origin living in Portugal. In both delegations, Hazur reminded all of their duties towards God and his fellow beings. Hazur emphasized that all should remain steadfast and firm in their belief and put every effort they can into spreading the message of Islam Ahmadiyyat in their respective countries. On the evening of Friday the 29th of March, Hazur took the Pledge of Allegiance known as Bai'at from converts and all those present. A reminder to all of Spain and in fact Ahmadi Muslims of the whole region that we must spend every day of our lives adhering to the 10 conditions of initiation set out by Hazrat Masih Maud, the promised Messiah and Mahdi, on how to live our lives as the model for the human race. The same evening, a dinner was hosted by the local community in honor of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, which was attended by all the local Ahmadiyya community. Hazur first led a silent prayer and dinner followed. The task the Spanish Ahmadiyya Muslim community have ahead of them is not an easy one. If the message of the rejuvenation of Islam is to reach all of Spain, and at the same time the community itself has to be brought up with high standards of spirituality and morality, an army of missionaries and dedicated devotees is needed. This is where the Waqf scheme comes in, which ensures that children are dedicated to the cause of Islam before their birth by their parents and are brought up with such care and consideration of their religious and moral upbringing that they become a model for the society and all those around them, regardless of which walk of life they choose. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih is always concerned about the upbringing of the Waqf children, and wherever he travels, he ensures that there is always a sitting with the Waqf children so that he himself is aware of their moral and spiritual state, and many a times guides them in their preferences and choices. Hazur had a meeting with Waqf boys and Waqf girls separately. On both occasions, portions of the Holy Quran were recited with translations in Spanish, together with ahadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Excerpts from the writings of the promised Messiah ﷺ were read out, and informative presentations were made related to the early history of the Muslims and the establishment of Islam Ahmadiyyat in Spain. Hazur then graciously answered many questions posed to him by the children, each time giving an answer applicable to all ages of children, which no doubt will serve them for the rest of their lives. Hazur inquired from both young and old as to what stage they were in their education and what they had decided to do as part of their dedication, sometimes advising himself as to what specific path will be best suited for them in their respective field of interest. On the evening of Saturday the 30th of March, Hazur led the Ameen ceremony for children who had just finished their first recitation of the Holy Quran. In Islam, love for the Quran is inculcated from a very young age. The Quran sits at the heart of a Muslim's belief, as it is a complete guide for a Muslim, and one spends his whole life applying what they learn from the Quran in their own life. Hazur asked each child to recite a small portion of the Holy Quran, which was followed by a silent prayer. The land of Spain is blessed with many beauties, and so on the 2nd of April, Hazur visited the coastal town of Calp in the province of Alicante. In summer, Calp becomes a very busy tourist attraction due to its magnificent beaches and its natural park, which hosts many Iberian, Roman and Arab archaeological sites. Nearing the town, Hazur was escorted by protocol police escorts to the mayor's office. Mayor Cesar Sanchez welcomed Hazur to Calp, where Hazur inquired the demographics and various other details of the city. Mayor Cesar Sanchez explained his pre-existing interest in Arab Muslim culture and his desire to learn more.
¿Te ha gustado Calpe?
Acabamos de llegar, desde que yo deja habita Calpe, ऊपर से वो
बहुत अच्छा खूबसूरत इलाका है.
Es una zona muy bonita.
और खूबसूरत इलाका है. बड़ी अच्छी सेहत वाली जगह पे रह रहे हैं ये लोग.
Todo es muy Corán. Es un Es el Santo Corán traducido al castellano con el árabe a un lado, el castellano al otro y algunas introducciones y comentarios a pie de página.
Muy bien.
Es un obsequio.
Y pues es un obsequio para mí muy interesante porque estuve un tiempo, lo que pasa es que no tengo tiempo, a punto de empezar clases de árabe en el centro islámico y hablando incluso con el profesor, porque me llama mucho, la verdad es que me interesa, me llama mucho la atención, pero la falta de tiempo, desde luego que me va a servir para consultarlo y para verlo.
He was very grateful because there was a period in his life and he really wanted to learn Arabic and he even contacted the Islamic Center in
original Arabic text or side translation.
Yeah, ese es el texto original árabe a la izquierda y luego tienes la traducción. Sí. Yeah, Islam is really classic.
¿Es usted?
No, the founder of them.
Él es el fundador de la comunidad.
Muy bien. Bueno, nosotros tenemos un pequeño presente porque de todos los libros que tenemos de Calpe, que se han escrito diversos, hay uno que refleja a través de las fotos, es muy sencillo, refleja a través de las fotos lo que es Calpe. Y al final, como entendemos que la mejor forma de poder conocer una ciudad o un pueblo es a través de las fotos, este libro para nosotros representa en fotos lo que es nuestro pueblo. Y es un pequeño, sencillo presente de nuestro pueblo.
We've got many books regarding Calpe, but this is the one we appreciate most because it's made of photos. So the story of our town and what's our town now, all is in the shape of photos. So this is
de la importancia de las imágenes.
Dice que la ventaja es que para el que no sabe español, evidentemente es el libro más adecuado porque
sí,
la foto es muy visual.
Es muy visual.
Muy servido.
Me ha hecho muchísima ilusión lo de tener el Corán traducido.
I'm really thankful for the Holy Quran. This is a very special gift for me.
Si me lo permiten, y ahora que no me escucha nadie, no lo dejaré en el ayuntamiento y me lo llevaré a mi casa.
Que if allows him, instead of living in the council, he wants to keep it for his house, for his home.
Teniendo,
que es un regalo personal.
Teniendo en cuenta que no nos escucha nadie.
Dice que si el ayuntamiento necesita otro para la biblioteca, ya os lo haremos llegar.
Pues sí, estaría bien.
Sí, que
estaría bien.
Council की library है ना?
Tenéis una biblioteca.
Sí, municipal.
Council की library के लिए और दे देंगे या personal है?
Sí, dile que este es tu regalo personal y ya te haremos llegar otro para la.
Me gustaría que nos pudiese firmar en el libro. Si me sacas mi
The mayor asked Hazur to write a few words in his guest book. Hazur expressed his thankfulness and gratitude for the mayor of the town of Calpe for the welcoming gesture expressed by him upon Hazur's visit.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
After the meeting, Hazur headed towards the natural park of Panyal d'Ifar. The Panyal d'Ifar is a massive limestone outcrop emerging from the sea and linked to the shore by rock debris. It is a home to numerous rare plants, including a number of endemic species and over 300 species of animals, and a nesting site for colonies of seabirds and other birds. Rising to over 300 meters high, the rock is a striking visual feature of the Mediterranean coastline. Historically, it was known to the Phoenicians as the Northern Rock, to distinguish it from its southern counterpart, the Rock of Gibraltar. Hazur was greeted by a local guide at the base of the hill, who showed Hazur some archaeological sites and led him on a tour of a small museum showcasing some of the rare plants and birds that populate the area, as well as outlining a brief history of the area.
solo con acercarnos a los balcones que tenemos en esta edificación de allí, así que luego ya iré.
Si quieres, vamos a los balcones ahora.
Sí, sí.
These are the plants grown here?
Yeah, of course.
Or they're widely grown here?
Yeah. Tenemos toda la parte sur de la costa. You see the big flats. There is Benidorm, and then you have all the mountains that are in our the big one. You can see la punta de
the peak of the mountain.
Yeah, the peak of the mountain is it's called Puig Campana. Is one of the highest ones in the Valencian region.
And then you have Pichinagarta, who is one of the highest peaks in Valencia.
Yeah, this is the sound of the bells you can play. And you can the bells sound.
On the 3rd of April, a special reception was held in celebration of the inauguration of the Badur Rahman Mosque, where a large number of guests ranging from high levels of the government to the local neighbors were invited. Some guests had an opportunity to sit with Hazrat Khalifatul Masih before the event and converse with Hazur on various topics. Hazur answered a range of questions from religion to current affairs, and his company was enjoyed by all the guests.
She's saying she's the mayor of this town.
This town?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She's the lady mayor of this town. And she says that she knows the Jamaat for many years now. We've been living together. It's true that in the beginning there were some problems with the neighborhood. They were frightened that maybe they didn't know us. They thought we might pose sort of problems for them. But then, because we were fully open to them, and because we were not only showing them what we were going to do, but even we showed them our plans, our masjid, and according to this attitude of ours, they ended up learning that we really didn't, we were not going to be any problem for them. And nowadays, I mean, everybody in the town is satisfied, and she only asks that we should carry on with this attitude so that the new neighbors, which are us, and the old neighbors which have been living here all the life through, they might keep, I mean, living together, so that she says that at the present there is no problem, and
I hope there will not be any problem in future as well.
Yeah.
I hope there will not be any problem in future as well.
Yeah. Dice su santidad que él está convencido o espera que no va a haber ningún problema en el futuro tampoco. Sí.
First, anyway, since she has been helpful to us, first of all, I would like to thank you very much for helping us, for taking this courageous step by allowing us to build the mosque here. And I learned that you have taken a great role in it, so I thank you very much.
Dice que él te da las gracias porque sabe que has tenido una actitud valiente aquí con el proyecto de la mezquita, y digamos, él has ido sabiendo cómo nos has ido ayudando en todos los pasos y él quiere expresar tu agradecimiento en este momento.
And today in the formal meeting there, I'm not going to give any very formal address, but to thank the neighbors and the mayor and the councils, to those who have allowed us, who have permitted us to build this mosque here. And as far as we are concerned, wherever we are in this society, in any part of the world, we try to integrate with the local people. And you will see we all are just like you. There will not be any much difference, just apart from that of way of worship to Allah. Thank you.
Thank you.
The main event followed, which commenced by the recitation and translation of the verses of the Holy Quran. A brief introduction to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community and Hazrat Khalifatul Masih was given, which was followed by speeches by some notable guests.
It has been more than 12 years since the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has been our neighbors. You have a long relationship with us, and we have been ever since living in harmony with you.
Your Holiness, I would like to commend the effort that you, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, have put into building this beautiful mosque in which we are in. I also want to send my salutation to the representative of all religions. I am very happy that we are sitting here together in the name of God, the Merciful.
This was followed by an inspiring address by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, where Hazur said that he wished to reassure the Spanish people that the new mosque would be a source of peace and compassion. He said the mosque would foster a spirit of togetherness and unity within the society. Hazur thanked the neighbors and all the guests for attending and said the mosque had been built to serve as a place of brotherhood and unity. Whoever comes here with pious intentions, be it a Muslim or a non-Muslim, will have the doors of the mosque always open for them. This mosque has been named Masjid Baitur Rahman, that is, a house of God, who is ever gracious and who shows kindness to his creation without any conditions. We who have built this mosque will ensure that we continue to serve and help the communities we live in and to serve God's creation.
I would also like to define to you what a neighbor means. Not only is your immediate neighbor on either side of your house a neighbor, but even locations on each side as far as 100 houses distance are considered to be neighbors. A person traveling with you in a train or a car or a bus, and even your work colleague is a neighbor. In this way, the definition for a neighbor is very vast. We have been taught that we should never act in a way to cause our neighbor any inconvenience. Hence, we are not here to cause you any disturbance, but rather are here to serve you. We are here to share with you our community, join you in your activities, and live peacefully and happily with you.
The guests were absolutely delighted and impressed with Hazur's address, whereafter all the guests had an opportunity to meet and talk to Hazrat Khalifatul Masih. I got to know the community many years ago through the first missionary that came to Spain. He explained to me about the suffering he endured and the time he spent in jail, and so today I am bearing witness to the honor of seeing your Khalifa. It was since then that I heard the slogan, love for all, hatred for none, and I have been inspired by this every day. I believe that it was a very good speech because the idea of living peacefully with each other in the current situation is very important. It is something that needs to be transmitted, and it's something that should be made known to the media and press, not the idea that certain minorities show off division. I think that this is the true reality that all the Muslims in the whole world should share. I remember in the beginning the community having very limited resources, and today I see that from that seed the community has flourished and built a beautiful mosque here in Valencia.
I would like to congratulate the whole of the Ahmadiyya community for this wonderful building. The impression that I have is to have had met a holy man, the Khalifa and the worldwide leader of your community. A person who preaches by his very own example a message of peace, love and respect towards all the people, and I believe that this is the most important thing, and also the fact that this mosque is devoted to a goal of good intentions for all people. Although I am a Christian, I feel great acquaintance with what His Holiness has said tonight, because even though we have a different religion, there are actually more things that unite us rather than separate us. And I have felt that His Holiness is a very open person, since even I was able to greet him.
By this time the news of the mosque had spread far and wide, and the next few days saw visits to the mosque by neighbors and guests from around the area who were given a tour of the mosque and shown around a special exhibition prepared on the history of the community in Spain. Guests showed a keen interest in the interpretation of Islam laid out by the promised Messiah ﷺ, and all got to witness the purpose of the mosque already begin to fulfill itself. To mark the inauguration of the mosque, Hazur also planted a small tree. On the 5th of April, Hazur delivered his second and last Friday sermon of the visit to Spain, which was again telecast live around the world. The whole world witnessed the Khalifa of Islam speak from the very land Muslims were thrown out of a few centuries ago. Hazur outlined all the basic guidelines and beautiful teachings of Islam concerning the relationship between Muslims in all spheres of the society. Teachings the early Muslims had failed to act upon, which ultimately led to their downfall. Hazur said that no one is exempt from commandments of God, neither he nor anyone else, be they office holders of the Jamaat, missionaries of the Jamaat, Ahmadi men or women. As long as we will firmly hold on to the rope of Allah and will practice every commandment of the Holy Quran and will remember God's favor that He has made us an Ahmadi, we will be paying His dues as well as the dues of His house.
और यहाँ तो हमने इस मुल्क में तो अभी बेइंतहा काम करना है। उस खोई हुई साख को दोबारा कायम करना है। यहाँ रहने वालों को जो आज से कई सदियाँ पहले खोई गई, यहाँ रहने वालों को दोबारा दीन इस्लाम की खूबियाँ बताकर हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के झंडे तले लाना है। और इसके लिए सबसे अहम चीज़ अल्लाह ताला की इबादत का हक़ अदा करना, उससे मदद मांगना और एक इकाई बनकर तबलीग का काम करना है। बस सिर्फ हज़रत मसीह मौऊद अलैहिस्सलाम का वक्त ही इत्तेहाद और इत्तफ़ाक़ को तरक्की देने का वक्त नहीं था, बल्कि आज भी जबकि हम बहुत बड़ा दावा लेकर खड़े हुए हैं कि इस मुल्क को इस्लाम के झंडे तले लाएंगे, सबसे पहले अपने अंदर इत्तेफाक और इत्तेहाद को तरक्की देने और उसके आला मयार कायम करने की ज़रूरत है। अगर तमाम ओहदेदारों और हर फ़र्द जमात ने इकाई बनने में अपना किरदार अदा न किया तो मस्जिद और खाना खुदा का हक़ अदा करने वाले नहीं बन सकते।
Hazur's visit was coming to a close. So with regards to the Islamic history of the region, the Spanish Ahmadiyya community arranged one last excursion for Hazur to Valle de Alcalá, the valley of Alcalá. During the Spanish Inquisitions, Muslims were forced out of the major cities and made to give up their very homes and lands they cultivated. They were forced into regions of Spain with very poor lands and degraded soil. Yet even this they cultivated and made prosperous. The not so lucky were either killed or forced out of Spain on ships to North African territories, many of which were attacked by pirates and travelers eventually thrown overboard or killed. Many Muslims died from poor health and disease on the ports. Many of these towns were originally Muslim settlements, hidden away in the mountains with signs of Muslim cultivation still present. Many churches seen were originally mosques. Even in these regions, the suffering of the Muslims did not end. Many were forced to convert to Christianity, leading a double life with a Christian veil over their Muslim hearts. If that wasn't enough, their children were finally taken away from them and were forced to grow up in Christian households. Such is the history of the lands Hazur was visiting. On a cold and windy afternoon, Hazur finally arrived at the historic town of Alcalá de la Cobada, which was the last seat of the Muslim king Al-Azraq, who unsuccessfully fought King James I to protect the Muslims. Hazur was greeted by the town mayor Juan José Sendra. Hazur and the mayor spoke at length on various issues of mutual interest. The mayor requested Hazur to sign his guest book in Urdu. Hazur, touched by the history of the region and the warm welcome of the mayor, wrote,
मुझे खुशी भी है और जज्बाती कैफियत भी है कि मैं आज इस इलाके में आया हूँ जहाँ से मुसलमानों को मजबूर करके रखा गया और फिर यहाँ से उन्हें ज़बरदस्ती निकाला गया। उनके बच्चों को छीन लिया गया जिनकी परवरिश फिर ईसाई घरानों में हुई। आज एक मुसलमान की हैसियत से इस इलाके में आकर यहाँ के इस वक्त के लोगों और ख़ास तौर पर मेयर साहब के कुछ दिलाना इस्तकबाल से ये उम्मीद है कि इंशाअल्लाह ताला यहाँ मुसलमानों को हमेशा खुशदिली से खुश आमदीद किया जाएगा। मेयर साहब का ख़ास तौर पर शुक्रगुजार हूँ, अल्लाह ताला उन्हें जज़ा दे। ये बता दें कि हिस्ट्री हमें पता भी लगी है और ये प्रोफेसर यहाँ के रिसर्च कर रहे हैं उनसे भी उन्होंने बताया।
Esto lo habíamos aprendido de nuestra propia historia y también gracias al profesor Gironés que nos lo ha ido explicando a lo largo del camino.
मुझे नहीं पता शायद ये भी उन मुसलमानों में से किसी की औलाद हो।
Es posible que usted sea también hijo de alguno de aquellos musulmanes de aquella época.
Sí, posiblemente. Posiblemente. Son muchos siglos y efectivamente quedó gente aquí.
Jैसे कि वो बहुत सदियाँ गुजरी और डाउट नहीं है कि काफ़ी लोग यहाँ पे जैसे कि उसने बताया यहाँ पे रहे।
तो
muchísimas gracias. Espero que disfruten de este pueblo cargado de historia y gran parte de esa historia es islámica, es musulmana.
He says that he expects Hazur to enjoy very much the visiting of this area, especially because the history is Muslim.
जिस खुशदिली से एक मुसलमान सरबराह की हैसियत से मेरा इस्तकबाल किया है इन्होंने, मुझे उम्मीद है कि इनके अंदर भी थोड़ा मुसलमान खून है।
Dice que por la forma en que lo ha recibido con tanto cariño, está seguro que hay sangre musulmana, parte de sangre musulmana en tus venas.
और कुरान करीम ने ये नहीं कि मुसलमान सिर्फ इन मुसलमानों को जो आजकल की टर्म चली उसको कहा है, बल्कि इब्राहीम अलैहिस्सलाम के भी ज़माने से मुसलमान का नाम लिया।
Que cuando se refiere al término musulmán no se refiere solo a la forma en que habitualmente se entiende el término musulmán, porque el Santo Corán al profeta Abraham, que es el patriarca de todas las religiones, también le denomina musulmán, es decir, es un término más amplio.
क्योंकि मुसलमान के लफ्ज़ी मतलब ही ये है जो अमन भेजने वाला, अमन से रहने वाला और अमन कायम करने वाला है।
Porque la palabra musulmán significa aquel ser humano que no solo vive en paz, sino que intenta transmitir la paz a su entorno.
इसलिए हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया कि हकीकी मुसलमान वो है जिसके हाथ से और ज़ुबान से हर वो शख्स जो अमन पसंद है और अमन से रहना चाहता है वो महफूज रहता है.
Desde que el santo profeta del Islam dijo que el verdadero musulmán es aquel del cual no recibe ningún daño el resto de la gente que vive en paz.
तो ये अमन पसंद ऐसे अमन पसंद लोग जो हैं मेरे नज़दीक जो ही मुसलमान हैं.
Por lo tanto, aquellas personas que como usted le gusta la paz desde el punto de vista de su santidad también son musulmanes.
और अगर कोई मुसलमान कहलाता है और अमन कायम नहीं रखना तो मुसलमान नहीं है.
Y aquellas personas que se llaman a sí mismos musulmanes pero que no respetan la paz en realidad no son musulmanes.
Estoy completamente de acuerdo y dile a su santidad que su mensaje de paz es importante en un mundo como el actual en el que vivimos, y es importante esa religiosidad que él transmite para las personas.
The message of peace is not only important for all the humankind, but the religiousness or spirituality that Hazur transmits is also essential for the humankind.
शुक्रिया.
Muchas gracias.
ये सफ़र तो दूर का था, थोड़ा सा वाइंडी भी था, चक्रों वाला भी था, लेकिन यहाँ आके इनसे मिल के इलाका देख के जो सफ़र की थोड़ी बहुत थकावट थी भी तो ख़त्म हो गई.
Dice que el viaje ha sido un poco largo, un poco mareante porque hemos ido por terrenos muy sinuosos, pero que no hay ninguna duda que después de llegar aquí, sentarse y saludarte, ha desaparecido el cansancio.
Muchísimas gracias por su amabilidad, pero que esto forma parte de este pueblo también de la geografía española, es decir, que no es solo playa, sí. La Comunidad Valenciana no es solo playa, sino que también tiene una parte más agreste, en la que se refugiaron precisamente los musulmanes.
कहते कि स्पेन सिर्फ ये नहीं है जो बाहर से लोग जो आते हैं सोचते हैं कि यहाँ पे वो सन है और बीचेस हैं, कहते इस किस्म की वो स्पेन का हिस्सा है, जैसे ये इलाका है जहाँ पे वो मुसलमानों मतलब जो भी वजह थी बहरहाल वो आना पड़ा इस तरह.
बहरहाल ये इलाका अच्छा है और मैं पहले यहाँ 2 दफ़ा पहले भी स्पेन आ चुका हूँ. मुझे पता होता कि इससे ऐसा खूबसूरत इलाका भी है और यहाँ इन जैसे खूबसूरत इंसान भी रहते हैं जो इंसानियत की वैल्यूज़ को जानते हैं, तो मैं पहले यहाँ आ जाता और इनको मिलता.
Dice que él ha venido ya 2 veces a España, pero de haber sabido que había zonas tan bonitas como la que ha visto y personas tan maravillosas como usted, hubiera venido seguro antes a este lugar.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
In the center of the town stands the church of Al-Azraq, previously the king's palace and the town mosque. Outside the now church is an inscription that says, Al-Azraq was born in Alcala sometime during 1218 and 1220. Here he had, according to the chronicles of King James I, his largest home, and he lived here until 1275. His palace occupied this whole block of houses. The streets and buildings of the town all point to a time bygone. The architecture reminiscent of a quiet Muslim era, and the remoteness of the village a testament to the hardships Muslims had to face. But none were more remarkable than the ruins of the Muslim village of La Adhubia, now a desolate but still standing ruin of a small farming village. The entire village is surrounded by natural beauty, and the small houses and quarters are what were once barns and stables and living quarters of Muslim farmers who would grow olives, almonds and cherries. Even now, many cherries bought in the UK are from this region. Accompanying him as a guide was a historian of early Muslims in Spain, Professor Ignacio Girones Guillem. Professor Ignacio Girones accompanied Hazur on a brief tour of the ruins.
There was the typical place where the musulmane farmer used to have his house, like.
Está todo eso de ahí. Dile también que lo terminamos de reconocer ahora. Es decir, esto está olvidado hasta 1950.
All this place was forgotten until 1950. कहता कि यहाँ पे बिल्कुल abandon किया गया था और किसी को एहसास नहीं हुआ कि ये क्या है या ये क्या चीज़ है. Only until 1950 they started recognizing that there was a Muslim place where they used to live.
De que no avance la construcción.
कहता कि कम से कम कि इसकी वो degradation ना continue.
इसको किस तरह प्रिजर्व रख सकते हैं? एक पत्थर गिरता जाएगा सिवाय इसके कि यहाँ कोई किनारे बनाए जाएं ताकि उनमें से पत्थर न गिरे.
Dile que sí se puede hacer un proselitismo y es el afectivo. Eso es gratis. Aprender a quererlo.
कहते कि मेरा तो यही काम है कि लोगों की इसकी मोहब्बत का वो पैगाम दूँ इन जगहों का ताकि वो फिर एक किस्म का वो पावर बने.
इसको भी यहाँ डॉट बन जाए तो प्रिजर्व हो जाए तो दीवार का वेट उसको बर्दाश्त कर ले. इसको भी डॉट बन जाए.
Sería aquí reforzamiento de estructura para que no se cayera.
यहाँ के चौक की मिट्टी है ना तो मिट्टी भी प्लस पिचमेंट डाला हुआ है वो भी सीमेंट की तरह ही बन गई है.
cemento, ¿no?
¿Esto sabes?
Esta es que salen todas las revistas en todos.
Sí, sí.
By the end of the tour, even the professor was impressed with Hazrat Khalifatul Masih and could not help but say that Spain should know that Muslims have returned.
कहता है कि बताएं कि आप लोग वापस आ गए, आप लोग वापस आ गए यहाँ पे. इस वक्त वो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि मुसलमान वापस आ गए.
पहला कदम आ गया.
Dice que el primer paso ya está dado.
Hazur even instructed members of the entourage to give adhan, where more than 400 years ago, Muslims had once called out the name of Allah to the hills and mountains.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat, hayya ala salat, hayya ala Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah.
Hazur also instructed Munir Ode, the head of MTA Productions and a Palestinian by origin, to give azan, stating that it was Arabs who had been forced out of these lands, so it is rather more fitting that an Ahmadi Muslim Arab should call the azan.
अरबों को यहाँ से निकाला था, वहाँ से जाके जान देना उस चौकी पे खड़े होते हैं। अरबों को जान की वजह लेकिन तो अरबों की
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Once more, the air and the valley was filled with the name of Allah and His Messenger.